This is a Marshall MG30DFX. It belongs to a friend of mine who likes the way it sounds for low volume gigs, and he's aware that it's not worth an awful lot. I looked it up. These things are selling between $120 and $220 on Reverb. He said it's acting up and asked if I'd take a look. I said, I'd be glad to take a look and let's see what's wrong with it. Maybe something simple. So I just powered it on. It's maybe just a fuse. Let's find out. Well, if it's a fuse, it's apparently not externally accessible. Let's take this out of the cabinet and see what we see. Well, I think he's gotten relatively lucky. Let me show you what the fault is, at least the fault that I know about now. It will not power on. It's got an inline fuse holder. Inside that inline fuse holder is an 800 milliamp fuse, and that fuse measures fine. But I'm not getting any power here where the leads from the power cable go. So if I have my meter set to continuity and I connect to the hot on the plug, and then I go to the little bit of exposed hot connection here because I pulled these out, I have continuity. If I go to the neutral, do the same thing on the other side. It's a bit hard to do with the camera here. I get nothing. I'm touching that metal. So while you would think that any problem would be with the fuse, it's actually, there's a break somewhere in the power cable on the neutral line, and the neutral's not getting through. Now, I don't know whether other than that, the amp works fine or not. I'll find out. What I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect this and temporarily power it on without a fuse and see if the amp otherwise works. If that works, then I'll install a new power cable and I'll install it with an inline fuse holder. Actually, that makes me feel bad. I don't like that. I'll order a fuse holder that clips to the chassis. There's plenty of room in this chassis to put an actual fuse holder in. Because, come on, Marshall, you could spend another $3. Anyway, I'm gonna give it a fuse holder and a power cable. Let me make sure that after that power cable is connected, that we actually have an amp worth working on. If it has like 18 other things wrong with it, no. But if that's the only thing, my friend will have lucked out. First, let me say that what you're seeing here is a temporary troubleshooting method, not a repair that would go out into the world. So I've got a new power cable, and I've got it tack soldered to the ground here. I've got it tack soldered to the neutral, and beneath this tape, the hot is also tack soldered. The fuse is bypassed. I'm using a current limiter. I'm not concerned about that. Does it power on? Yes, it powers on now. I expected that. Now, one of the things with the solid state amp, before I hook it up to one of my speakers to test it, is I want to make sure I don't have any stray DC on the output jack. Because a lot of times when a solid state amp fails, particularly an old Class AB transistor one like this, when it fails, you'll have pretty significant DC voltage on the speaker output. And if I hook that up to one of my good speakers, I won't have a good speaker anymore. So let me measure that. No voltage. Okay. So let me hook this up to one of my speakers using just some alligator clips and make sure the thing sounds right. If it sounds right, he's one fuse holder and a permanent install of this power cable away from a working amp. Fingers crossed. Let me get that cable. Well, both channels are working fine, but the effects doesn't seem to be working. I don't know if the effects were working before or if he's even worried about that. Let me make sure the little digital effects board is fully seated. Well, I'll call him to confirm, but I have my suspicions that this little DSP card has not been working for a long time. These little DSP multi-effects things you find in Fenders and Marshalls at this price range usually lasts about 6 minutes past the warranty, and then the company doesn't sell replacements for them. So As long as the rest of the amp works without the digital effects, that's fine. You can always use pedals with it. Anyway, I'll call him and let him know what I found. I think he's just one new fuse holder and a properly installed power cable away from a functioning amp. So that's a win. Thanks for watching.